Hello, it's me, Joe Agassi, and today I'm gonna show you how to get a better techno kick. From this to this. I'm gonna use today Cubase and a couple of plugins, but you can use any other DAW as Ableton or Logic and any other plugins as well. The techniques I'm gonna show you are universally usable. So let me show you the track which we are working on. As you can hear, the track is already reasonably finished and the kick drum is as well okay. So I'm gonna show you how to get to the point where we are now, and then we're gonna use some synthesis to make it even better. So let's take a look at the kick itself. With the bass element here, it sounds like that. So I take here already the bass line so that the reverb goes away, that we can hear the kick dry. So the kick consists of 3 layers. The main one is this kick B flat, with a copy of it on the offbeat. And then we got here this distorted kick. So together they sound like that. So I'll show you how we got here. Let me just get the mixer from the other screen over. So we are looking at these 3 channels, which then go into this bus channel. In Ableton, for example, you would use the group track to do this. So I'm gonna remove all the effects. So I'll do here a little loop and get back to the mixer. The first effect is here the omnipressor, which is basically an expander to make the tail a little louder. Then I've got a transient designer to give the transient a little bit more click to punch more through the mix. And then I've added 2 layers of saturation to it from the Fielding DSP Reviver and from the Plugin Alliance Black Box. Then on the SSL channel I've got a little bit of EQ, but I also use the fader to get it a little bit louder because I like the way this plugin overdrives. So we're hearing that it's definitely louder. And then another layer of clean equalization because it's a lot more precise, especially with the low cut, to not get too much rumble in it. The last plugin here is the Filter Freak, which is used to high cut in certain part of the tracks and is by now bypassed. The bypass is controlled via an automation track. So that's how we got from the original sample to where we are now. I should add that the original sample, which is from an Audio 10 sample pack, is in F sharp, but I pitched it up to B flat. That's because the track I'm writing is an E flat minor. So this means that my kick is actually on the 5th and not on the root note. But if you want me to get more into the music theory of techno, drop a comment below and I'll make a video about it. So the problem with this kick, or with these kick layers, are that they sound good, but they are too short. So let me show you on the Exoscope, which is a super cool free plugin. And let's turn off all the secondary layers, because the main part of the sound is here the B flat. So you see that there are a lot of gaps between it. So we're gonna now synthesize a longer tail in order to fill the gap. So we're gonna use basically any synth you want, because we just need a sine wave. I'm gonna use Silence, but you can as well use Wavetable in Ableton or some stock plugin in Logic. Give this the name Kick tail, and I'm gonna put now one note event in it. So let's get here. Because the kick is in B flat, I'm gonna just put one note B flat, which has the length of one kick. And so let me make the loop even smaller. Sounds not really like we want it, but to understand a kick drum, it's just a sine wave which is initially pitched down very fast and then sustains at a certain pitch. And this pitch is the root note of the sample. So I'm gonna change here to sine wave to basically have the single frequency. So right now it sounds like this. Because a sine wave is just a single frequency. So I've got another free plugin which is Span, and it shows us the frequency here in the band together with the kick. So now we don't need this note in audio. For that I'm gonna control right click and then render in place. In Ableton you could use the resample function. So we just want to have playing the root note of the kick. In this case this is the fifth of our scale. So then I can get already rid of the synthesizer, and now we can look back, just unmute it, to the kick and the sine wave together on the exoscope. We see that the sine wave here is a lot lower in volume, so let's turn it up a little. Maybe a little more. This is how they sound together, but you see here that they have a little hole in the middle, or a little dip in volume. That's because the phases are cancelling each other out, or basically the waves are cancelling each other out. So I'm now gonna move the tail a little bit while this is running, and then you can see how this is changing. So basically what we wanna achieve is that the hills are exactly over the hills and the valleys are exactly over the valleys. So here you see that we have two waveforms instead of one. This is because this channel is still stereo. Here in Cubase we can actually split those. In Ableton this is not possible. Just to show it, I always work when possible with mono files, because if you are processing, even if you have a strictly mono file, it may change a little bit, and you do not want to have a stereo bass, because in the club it's gonna cancel it out, similar to what we have seen earlier here. Okay, cool. So now the point is we need to cut this in a way that makes sense. A cool function is with Cubase that you can enable snap to zero crossing. So right now they will exactly always go into the 0 point, because if you cut at the top or at the bottom, you will hear a click. I'm gonna now fade in where the kick fades out. So as you hear, it's already a lot longer kick drum. It's obviously now a little bit too long, so we're gonna fade it out at the end as well. I'm gonna mute the tail, then put it back. For me it's now a little bit too loud, so put it down in volume a little bit. So I'm gonna group it so that I can copy it. If you're in Ableton, you can just select the range of one kick and just press the duplicate key for a couple of times. Now let's listen to the entire kick. So I have the tail now muted, and I'm gonna bring it in after a couple of hits. So you hear that it is a lot stronger, a lot heavier, and sounds generally a lot fatter. I'm gonna show you with the entire track. If you learned something today, make sure to push the like button. If you have any question, you can add a comment or write me on social media. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.